integration demo.
To record it, but we discuss about integration architecture in Workday. Okay, so how what are the components available here in Workday compared to other relational database management system, like compared to other ERP applications like PeopleSoft, SAP or something. So how the components is available, how the architecture is in Workday, we can discuss it in this slide. Okay. So all customer data will be here stored in a persistent store here. Okay, whenever a customer or users enter data into Workday application, that will be stored in a persistent store. We call it as a persistent store. But if you think about other databases, other ERPs, like we'll be having a Oracle database there, so the data will be stored in the customer data will be stored in the database. But here in Workday, so the data will be stored in persistent store. That is equivalent to RDBMS. Okay, database in Oracle. So is this persistent store is a database maintained by Workday. Maintained by Workday. It will not be maintained by the client or customer. So all data will be stored, all customer data will be stored in a persistent store here that will be maintained by Workday application itself. So we'll call it as a persistent store here. The terminology of the data where it stores is called as a persistent store here. Okay, so let's say if an employee, a customer enters data into Workday, he may be created supervisory organizations into Workday, create positions, create compensation packages, create compensation groups. So what the user enters, log into Workday application, enter some information by doing some tasks here, create supervisory organizations, create positions also. The whatever the data entered into the Workday application, it will be uh, converted into web service request, and finally it will stored into persistent store here. Okay, so the only way to communicate with persistent store here is through object management system, OMS. Okay, so this is the component available in the integration architecture here. Okay, Workday architecture. So this object management system is responsible for communicating to the persistent store, to the persistent store. Okay, so in real time, if you use Oracle RDBMS system, we'll be writing queries, SQL queries, to access some of the data from database. But here, object management system comprises or contains a set of services or Workday web services hosted in it here. So how we can communicate here through persistent stories? We create a web service calls, web service request, XML that is in the form of XML request. So the data will be converted into a XML request here, XML web service request. So through web service request, that will be communicating to persistent store here, persistent store. So it is any form, like it's an if you want to access data from persistent store, or if you want to access import data into persistent store. So it should be through the web services here. So these web services is a set of suits available are given by Workday itself. So what we do is, so using our integrations are whatever it's our integrations are through, even if you convert to the right, if you uh, enter data into Workday system, this data will be converted to web service request here. So internally it will converts and stores into persistent store here. So all communication within the OMS is in the form of XML or HTML request. So We'll be working with XML and HTMLs to communicate with the web services in the form that is available in the form of web services here. So with that web services, we will be communicating to persistent store here. Okay. So in this case, so when the user enters data into the application, when they log into the application, enters data here in the application, so it will be it will be in the form of HTML here. So it will be converted to, it will be transformed to UA server. The UA server has a set of web services like UA server will convert this request into a web services here, and it will pass through OMS system, object management system. So finally, this object management system, this component is responsible to communicating this data into persistent store here. Okay, so this is when users data enters data into Workday system. Similarly, with the system, like when you are creating integrations also will be with the integrations also, we will be converting data into web service request here. Okay, web service request that should pass through OMS request. So when we create any integrations, whether it's an inbound integration or outbound integration, we should make a call to web service. So that is in the form of XML. So we'll be having a web service request and web service calls here to integrate or to communicate with between persistent store and the external system here. So any integration, it's an inbound or outbound integration, it should pass through a web service call to extract data from the store or to import data into work store. So we should it should pass through it should pass through a web service call. Web service call. So as part of integrations, we will be build up our integrations that uses these web services, either inbound or web outbound integration. So at the end, it has to use the web service here within the Workday application. So these web services, there is two types. One is SOAP web service, another one is a RESTful web service. So we discuss more about these web services in the upcoming class. So using these methodologies, these protocols, so we will be build up our integrations here. Build up our integrations, both inbound and outbound integrations. So this is just architecture, how what are the components available, how data will be transformed from when users enters data into a system, then it will be how the data is stored into a system here. So we'll talk about more into next slide. Each component, how it will be like architecture. So Workday Cloud Platform here. So in this case, like Workday is a cloud. Workday is on the cloud. That means it is a software as a service company. Workday is a software as a service company. It works on the SaaS model. That means Workday is hosted. Workday hosts the data and the application. Workday application that is hosted within the Workday itself. So a customer or user who who uses this application doesn't need to bother about ownership of the database or ownership of the hardware required to handle this application. Okay. If you go with the traditional ERP applications like Microsoft and RDBMS, we may require a server here. So that server should be maintained by the customer itself. Oracle doesn't maintain server data here. Okay, and other any applications, so customer has to bought it and they have to they need to have a resources to maintain the servers and database there. But here the application and the software is hosted by Workday itself, so customer need not to bother about how data is stored in the data will be stored, and we don't need to purchase any additional software like databases and any other additional softwares or hardwares required to handle the data in the Workday. So that means uh, customer can reduce the cost of having the servers, database, and servers, and additional software because it is hosted by Workday itself. So, so it, the data and servers will be hosted by Workday. So they will call as a service here. They will provide the application, Workday application as a service. They will give all these Workday applications, all this Workday to the customer as a service here. So that's why we call it as a software as a service. So service tool. Okay, software as a tool. So similarly, when it comes to integrations, okay, integrations, there is no additional softwares or additional servers required for the integration. Okay, within the application, within the Workday application, we can actually build our integrations. We can build our integrations. We can build our reports. We can schedule all the integrations within the application itself. Yeah, there is no additional tool required for here to build the integrations. So here also, it comes to integrations. So we don't need any additional softwares. Like here also, the Workday can, the customers can save some of the cost to purchase some additional tool to build these integrations here. Okay. Okay. This, if you see a Workday application, Workday Cloud, it comprises of web services, as I told you here in this. So it is the object OMS. It contains of a web services. So there are public web services APIs and custom APIs. It comprises of public and private web services here. APIs we call it here. So all the data and everything will be whatever data we entered into the system, it will be passed through a web service request, finally stored in the on the cloud. Okay, Workday is on the cloud, so that the data will be stored in the persistent store available on the cloud here. So this is about Workday application. When it comes to integration, Workday, we call it as Workday Integration Cloud here. So this is a just terminology they mentioned Workday Integration Cloud because it is this application is on the cloud. So we call it as integrations also, Workday integrations also on the cloud here. So Workday Integration Cloud has as has a two parts here. Okay, integrate, we call it as integration platform. It has two sections here: integration cloud connect and custom integrations. So integration cloud connect is comprises of packaged integrations or end-to-end integrations. That means pre-built integrations available under integration cloud connect. Okay. So what Workday done is, like, many of the vendors, many of the top vendors, or many of the top business customers, so they have created a integrations, pre-built integrations along with the application. So in this case, with the less efforts, we don't need to create a new brand new integrations here, custom integrations. So we can, with less efforts, okay, just configuring those integrations will work here. So suppose, let's say I have a customer has a business with United Healthcare or MetLife, some of the benefit providers. Okay, so they have a business with them to provide benefits to them employees. So they want to communicate data between vendor and Workday system here. Okay, how they are to do? Usually they will have to create an integration that sends data from Workday system to vendor. Similarly, if vendor sends data into Workday, we need to create an inbound integration to process it usually. So that is what it happens. But here in this, Workday has delivered set of pre-built integrations that can be readily used here, readily used, and these are available certain vendors. The top vendors or top companies. Already they have created a pre-filled integration that is ready to use it. So if any client having business with those vendors, they can readily use these integrations. So those integrations will be available under integration cloud connect here. Okay. Similarly, if some of the integrations there is no package integrations or build integration, so we will build our own integrations under custom integrations here. Okay, so integration platform is a terminology here where integration technology. Workday uses the integration technology. It contains two parts: integration cloud connect and custom integrations. Integration cloud connect, we have packaged integrations or delivered integrations. Under custom integrations, we build up our own custom integrations by using different tools available in the Workday application. So we'll see what are the tools we use to build custom integrations in coming slides here. Okay. So before I go, what are the tools available here? So let's discuss about what is integration. Maybe many of you are already experienced. You are know what is an integration here. So you so anyway, I'll go through that one more. So an integration is a bridge between two systems here. Okay, here let's say so Workday is one of the system and the target is like vendor external system. So we need to exchange data between from Workday system to target system. Two systems. Either exchange can be from Workday to target system or from target system to Workday system. In either form, we need to transform data from one system to another system. So integration is a bridge between these systems. So we create integrations. That means integrations to transform data between one system to another system. It can be inbound integration or it can be outbound integration. Okay. So inbound integration is to pass data from Workday. Sorry, to inbound integration is to feed data into Workday. So data will be coming from external system here. We feed it to Workday system. Similarly, an outbound integration means we extract data from Workday and send it to third-party system. So the data exchange happens through integrations. Through integrations, data exchange between two applications or third-party systems. Uh, it can happen through integrations. Okay, like let's say there are two types of integrations. One is outbound integration here. That means data will be passed from Workday system to external system. Let's say employee demographic data, employee payroll data, so employee benefits data. So that will be stored in the Workday system here. So in this information we may need to pass to external system for different reasons. For example, if the vendor is a benefit vendor, we need to provide all employee data to process the employee benefits. So it's a MetLife or United Healthcare, and some of the vendor benefit vendors. So we have to create an integrations to pass information from Workday to target system.
I have a quick question for you. Can we go back to the slide, the one before that?
This one?
The one before that one. Yeah, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So here, no, the one after this, the fourth slide.
So
yeah. So here, the custom integrations under Workday Integration Cloud, is it not the same as custom APIs, or is it different?
Custom integration, yeah, custom APIs. Yeah, we call it as a custom APIs as well here. So we call
So you'll so basically public web services APIs, are those the same as Integration Cloud Connect, or is it completely different technology altogether?
it's same as a integration cloud connect. It's not different. It's public web services can be accessed through anybody here. Like we can access through web services here, and we create integrations. So even it's an integration cloud connect or it's a custom integrations, we build our integrations by using this public web services only.
Okay. So basically everything what we do is using either public web services or the custom APIs. That's it. There is no other way to do it.
Yeah, that's right. There is no other way to do that. So
okay, thank you.
So public web services is readily available. We can the piece of code also XML. This request will be in the form of XML, right? So there could be a request XML and a response XML. So we send a request. Workday has delivered these public web services readily available here. So it contains a piece of code there. We build our integrations using these public web services here. Okay, whether it's an inbound integration or an outbound integration doesn't matter. So we use these web services and build integrations. So in case of this, to use a public web services, so in case of custom web services, so we call it as a reports here, custom reports. So we create a custom reports in Workday. Then we make that report as a web service enabled. Okay, so we that is called a custom APIs here, custom web services or custom APIs we call it, because we create our own custom reports here in Workday.
Okay.
So that custom reports can be converted into APIs.
Okay.
So okay. So in case of outbound, this is just an architecture of outbound here. So the data will be stored in the form of integration objects here. Okay, Workday business object. Let's start like about what is Workday versus what is RDBMS before that. Okay, so these are the equivalent objects in Workday, and it is RDBMS, like a relational database management system. So Workday, we call it as a business object that is equivalent to table or record in RDBMS. Okay, business object is equivalent to table or record. So similarly, report data source here, we call it as report data source, that is equivalent to view in RDBMS. Here, class report field is equivalent to column in RDBMS. Okay. Related business object related business object RBO, related business object RBO. It is equivalent to child record in RDBMS. Okay. Instance is a row. Okay. So these are terminologies we use it in Workday system. Maybe it's new to you. So who are already here in Workday. Naming conventions are it is equivalent in table in RDBMS. We can see it here. So business contains is it contains a set of fields here. It's equivalent to report record in RDBMS. So it contains a list of columns. Okay, contains a class report fields, number of calls report fields. So we use these business objects to create our integrations, like how we use the records in RDBMS. Similarly, we use these business objects to create our own integrations, because the data will be stored in the form of business object here. So each data, every data will be stored in the business object. Like how the record stores data in Workday, the data will be stored in the form of business object. Business object contains all the fields here, class reports fields or columns, and also it contains child related business object, that is called child records. Okay, one instance here we call it as a row in it is in RDBMS, it is a row, but here we call it as instance. Okay. So let's go back here. This is the integration architecture of outbound. The data will be stored in the form of objects. In Workday, it stores in the form of object. Worker is an object here. Payroll is an object. Some of the examples I am telling: tenant and finances. Here, everything is an object. Okay, so in case of outbound, we have to extract data from this object, because data is stored in everything in the form of here and the object. So we create an outbound integrations that extract data from these objects and send to external system here. Okay, while creating, we use these public web services and the reports, that is custom APIs here, to build our integrations. We create outbound integrations by using web services and reports to extract data from these business objects and send to external system through FTP or SFTP, different protocols here, two delivery protocols to external system. So we can send as FTP or as SFTP, or we can send a SOAP or a REST service here, or we can send a data in the form of attachment. So these are the transportation method protocols, we send data into external system. Okay, so our integration will comprises of all these steps. So calling a web service, or calling a custom API, or calling a public web service to extract data from objects here, and similarly to transport into external system. So here data must go through a form of web service here. Okay, let's say Workday doesn't, this data is stored in objects here. It doesn't, okay, it doesn't give any output in the form of different form. Okay, suppose I want to get a output in the form of text file, or I want to get a output in the form of CSV file. So the Workday doesn't directly give output in this format. So what we do, it will give a form, the output in the form of XML, because it's everything is a web service, and web service requests and responses, it will be in the form of XML format here. Okay, the output is in the form of XML. So what we do, as part of these integrations, we also convert this XML output files into a different format here, that is text file or a CSV file. If you want to send, we need to convert that XML output to a different format here. So for that also we use a language called XSLT, that is extensible style sheet language transformation. Extensible style, what it will take is, it will read the XML file generated by Workday, so that, and it will transform into a different format, either CSV format or text format, whichever we need it. So we will be converting the data from one format to another format as part of these integrations here. Because so here Workday gives only output in the form of XML, so that is, it cannot give any other output here. So this with these integrations, we also apart from building these integrations by using these web services, we also convert data into a different format here in the integration here. So this is an inbound outbound architecture where we extract data and send to external system. Similarly, we have inbound as well, where data will be coming from target system, and that will be fed to Workday system here. For example, payroll inputs and time tracking job application. Like, let's say time tracking is a different application like Kronos or something a customer is using. They want to send all time tracking information to Workday to process their payroll. Okay. So all time and entry, whenever all employees when enters the time and entry, it will be feeded into Workday system. Okay, so like time payroll inputs, time tracking, and job applications. Mostly these are the main some examples where we'll be entering data into Workday system. It is coming from third party and it will be loaded into Workday system here. Okay. So this is a simple integration architecture for inbound integration. Here data is fed to Workday. Okay, when external system send data into Workday in these protocols, as either SFTP or FTP or SFTP or REST. So using these methods, we external system data into Workday system here in the form of files here, either text files or CSV files or some fixed length files. So we'll be extracting data from external system here. Then these files can be converted into a web service format here, Workday web service compliant format. Okay, so directly you cannot load it with these inbound integrations. Okay, we usually convert the data into a Workday readable format, that is a Workday web service format here, Workday compliant format, web service format. Then that file, then that will be loaded into objects here. Examples, Workday objects. Okay, that is equivalent to tables, records in RDBMS. So each object contains certain fields. So when we read the file from external system, we'll convert into a web service format, Workday readable web service format. Then finally it will be loaded into Workday objects here. So in inbound architecture, it contains these components and the structure here. So additionally, we can encrypt this or decrypt these options with in the integration itself. We have options to encrypt the data or decrypt it here. So in case of outbound, we can encrypt the outbound file and send the encrypted file to external system, like let's say PGP encryption. To more secure data, we can do encryption and send it within the Workday application. So there is no additional tools are required for this encryption. So we have that privilege to encrypt the files before sending into external system here. Similarly, if you receive an encrypted file here in the inbound, we can decrypt it and process it. That feature is available, and we can handle this with the integration itself when creating integrations.
So, one question about the transformation of the file from the the XML format to the other formats. I mean, do we do that in the Workday, or do we depend on any other third-party tools to do it?
So we use a Oxygen. This is Oxygen is a XML editor and edited here. So it is this this tool we use to write the code here. Let's say this is an example. This is, let's say, this is an XML file here, and this is again a XSLT, that is extensible transformation here. So what it will do is it will read the XML file and it will transform into a desired format here. So during the development we use this tool, okay, to write up our code and test it in the outside of the Workday system. Okay, so let's say this file is generated. Okay, this file is generated, XSS file is generated. What we do, we attach this file into Workday. Okay, and we can process it one. So when development stage we do this. So once it is developed and tested, we can load this into Workday application. Another one is custom integrations built using the integration cloud platform. Okay, there are two. It contains packaged integrations or end-to-end integrations, cloud connectors. Custom integrations will be building with our own technology or with different tools here. Okay, we'll see what are the types available here. So under Cloud Connect, we'll see packaged integrations, that is a build for a particular vendor. Let's say uh, many vendors, like we have some of the benefit vendors, some of the payroll vendors. They when payroll vendors, they process payroll. Benefit vendors, they process benefits to employees. Okay, so suppose if you want to send any information from these vendors. Okay, Workday has provided predefined benefits, predefined integrations here, package integrations. So those will can be directly configured and run scheduled. Those can be configured, scheduled, and run those integrations directly to communicate or exchange data between these vendors. Okay, let's say a lot of vendors like the uh, MetLife, different kind of vendors here. Okay, so who can process payroll here? United Healthcare, MetLife. Okay, uh, and some of the payroll vendors, ADP. ADP is one of the payroll vendor. If suppose if you want to exchange data between this ADP and Workday, like we have already predefined integrations available here. Okay, built-in integrations, so we can readily use that one. Okay, so these are coming under packaged integrations and cloud connectors here. Okay, connectors is nothing but a templates here. Okay, Workday will provide a template. Okay, we use those templates to build our integrations. Okay, the difference between packaged integrations and connectors are packaged integrations here completely configured end to end. Okay, connectors is nothing but 70% of efforts is done by Workday itself. Okay, that means they provide a template. Okay, the templates itself has a done with 70% of efforts to create our integrations. Okay, as a developer or integration consultant, we may use less efforts to let's say 30% efforts to be put in this while creating integrations, because these are predefined almost templates here. We can use these templates and build our integrations. Okay, so here the we still as a custom, because we have to configure, and we can have to configure this, and we need to still write up some code. So connectors contains the templates. We use templates and create integrations. let's say we see a simple example at the end, like how the package integrations look like, how connectors will looks like. Okay, we'll show in the tenant here. Then, so these two come under Cloud Connect here, packaged integration. So this is a terminology. Just don't what is Cloud Connect, or don't bother about it. We call it as simply delivered integrations here, and we call it as a custom integrations. It is the naming convention here Workday Integration Cloud Platform. Okay, simply a custom integrations. Okay, so these are the different tools we use to create our custom integrations. One is APIs, web service APIs we call it, and EABs, Enterprise Integration Builder, document transformation, then Workday Studio. These are the four tools Workday has given to build our custom integrations. Okay, depends on our requirement. We may use different tools. Each tool has their pros and cons. So using that, so when we are developing these integrations, when we are taking examples, we'll see discuss what is the advantages and disadvantages of each tool, and when to use appropriate tool here. Depends on the situation or depends on the requirement. We need to decide to build our which tool is appropriate, and decide which to build our integrations, custom integrations. Okay, so let's see more about this package integrations here. It's again fully designed end-to-end integrations specific to a third party and service, application or service here. No configuration, all it is everything configuration, no coding, additional coding is required under package integrations. Okay, connectors is a pre-built integration templates that addresses majority of the integration efforts. Okay, at least 70% efforts is come done with these templates here. Because Workday has provided with these templates, we may need sometimes after need code, additional code changes is required here, and after needs configurations are needed. Okay, so both configurations and additional coding is often needed here in this core connectors type of integrations here. Okay, so let's say some of the examples of cloud connectors here. Okay, examples we have integrations for medical, dental, and vision. Packaged integrations for this kind of benefits. Medical, dental, vision is a benefits provider to process medical, dental, and vision kind of benefits. Okay, they have already predefined integrations for this um, benefits actually. So these are some kind of benefits available, packaged integrations available under benefits section. Maybe payroll section there may be different available, HCM there may be different packaged integrations available. So depends on the each module, there may be packaged integrations available here. Okay, so first just showing here for benefits, we can see these are the packaged integrations available with these examples. Okay, flexible spending accounts, life and AD and insurance, COBRA eligibility, retirement plans, and disability. For these all packaged benefits, packaged integrations are readily available, so we can use it. Okay, we can use it if you want. Similarly, connectors also available. For example, some of the clients doesn't have business with some small vendors or small companies. Maybe the Workday has doesn't have packaged integrations for them. Okay, end-to-end integrations. So what we call, so using these benefit connectors, we create our own integrations here. So to process the benefits here. Okay, so these connectors have a templates. Okay, all these connectors has a templates. For retirement savings, there is a template available. For flexible spending accounts, there is a template available. Similarly, life and disability, there is a predefined template available here, Workday delivered template. Using that template, we configure our integration. And to send the data from Workday system to external system here. Okay, this is about Cloud Connect here. Uh, this is an example of HCM Cloud Connects. Okay, we have Cloud Connector for assign organization inbound. We have Cloud Connector for background check order. We have Cloud Connector for competency model, job profiles and job family, and job represents. So these are connectors or templates are readily available. So we take these templates and build our integration. Suppose I want to send job profiles and family information to an external system. Okay, what I do, I use this connector and build the integration, my outbound integrations using this connector. For example, I want to import data into organizations, supervisory organizations, or some other organizations data into Workday. So there is a connector already available here. I can use this connector as a template. Then I create integration using this template to import organization data into Workday system. For example, I can import supervisory organizations. I can import cost centers. I can import some departments, different types of organizations here. Okay, organization structure we can do that. So these templates is some sample here. So for example, Workday core connector worker. So I can use this core connector worker to create a demographic file. Okay, worker demographic file that I can send to any vendor. Okay, so that demographic file contains worker job information, personal information. Okay, dependent information, benefits data, payroll data, all data. If you want to send it to a vendor or third party system, so I can use this core connector worker. Okay, using this worker, I can actually create a demographic file or some other worker related information I want to send. So, well, likewise, we have different connectors available in HCM. So we can make these connectors, use it and build our integrations here. Okay. Any questions here? The connectors and packaged integration to external system. You can use worker connector. Okay, let me see. Uh, you can use connector for worker, core connector worker. We can use and build our own integrations. So this is come under Cloud Connect. They will come under Cloud Connected here. Okay, these two will come under Cloud Connects. Package integrations has. So here in this case, we need to put our very less efforts to create our integrations. Okay. Uh, in case of packaged integrations, maybe 5% efforts, 90% of work done by Workday itself. Maybe we need to put 5% efforts to configure something and then configure our integration. But in case of connectors, we maybe 60% of efforts is done by Workday itself. Maybe you need to use 40% efforts as an integration consultant. You may need to use 40% efforts to use these connectors and build integration. Okay, so this is Cloud Connect for Workday Cloud Connect. So under there is one more platform here, Cloud Connect for Cloud Integration Cloud Platform, where we'll be building our complete own integrations, custom integrations. Okay, so using there are different tools, APIs, API, Enterprise Integration, Document Transformation on Workday. Using these tools, we can actually build our own integrations here in the cloud platform. Okay, so let's see what is API here. Okay, APIs. API is nothing but application programming interfaces. APIs, so it can comprises of both RAS and web services. Okay, RAS is nothing but report as a service. Okay, in Workday we create a custom reports and we make these reports as a services. We can convert them into web service enabled, and we can send this as a service here. RAS reports results we can send as a service here. Okay. Similarly, web services available, public web services. So using this, Workday has provided web services already predefined. They will come with all the web services and XML code in it, XML request and XML responses. So we use these public web services and create our own integrations to different purpose. Okay, there are various, like plenty of web services available. For example, I want to change a address change for worker. I want to do address change of a worker. For that, there is a web service available. I want to hire an employee. There is a web service available to hire an employee. I want to terminate an employee in Workday system. There is a web service available to terminate an employee in Workday system. Okay, for every action we do perform in Workday system, there is a web services available here. So we can make use of these web services and build our integrations to perform some transactions in Workday, to either an inbound transaction or an outbound. So we can use these web services and make our integrations with these web services here. So This is one of the type of integrations we it come under custom integration section. Custom integration section we build it here. The next one is Enterprise Integration Builder. We call it as EAB. So it is a Workday, one of the tool. Workday is there is no additional software or tool required within the application itself. So within the URL, we just log in to the Workday application. From there itself, we create integration. So no additional software or tool is required for this EAB. Okay, it's a builder. So with the EAB, we can both create an inbound integration or outbound integration. Okay, so for inbound integration, okay, it contains a spreadsheet. Okay, data will be in the form of a spreadsheet here. So that is XML, XSL spreadsheet contain data. So what it will do, we create an integration. We read data from the file from the Excel file and import data into a Workday system here. Okay, so usually in EAB we can do bulk hires, okay, bulk hires, bulk terminations. So if you want to do with this, we can do EAB inbound integration. We can create an inbound integration. We can do that. So bulk hires, bulk terminations, bulk transfers, promotions. So if you want to do in a bulk, like we can create EAB inbound integration, we can do that. Okay. Similarly, outbound integration we can also do with the EAB. So here we can extract data from Workday from the different various of sources with different objects we can extract and send to CSV file or Excel file using outbound integration here. Okay. Also, we can email the outbound report. Email the output report. Also, we can do that in the EAP. So the other type of integration here is document transformation. So document transformation in this part, what we do in this tool, we take the XML output given by connectors or a custom report and transform into a customized output here. Okay, let's see. This XML Workday will give output in the form of XML. Our vendor or third-party system need a different format. Let's say test format. What we do, we use XSLT code and we convert this XML into a different format, text format, and send it. Apart from that, we can leverage Workday features like services, attributes, and maps. So Workday has some functionalities here: integration services, attributes, and maps. So apart from in the document transformation type of integration, we can actually transform data and also leverage all these attributes, services, and all to build our integration. Additionally, there is Workday proprietary functions here, ETV and XTT, to validate some data, to error checking, and to do some formatting options here. Suppose I want to do some error handling. I want to do some error handling that cannot be possible in XSLT. Okay, XSLT transformation. Additionally, Workday has provided some of the functions that can use in the XSLT code to do data validations, to do error handling, error checking, and some formatting options like uppercase, lowercase, substring. So if you want to do this, all these want to use in the XSLT, so Workday has delivered these functions, ETV and XTT functions here. So this is only Workday proprietary functions. We cannot use uh, other languages or something. So ETV is nothing but element transformation and validation. Okay, the full form is element transformation and validation. XTT is nothing but XML to text, XML file to text. So when we are converting XML to text, so we can use these functions into the document transformation type of integrations. We can use these functions and to perform this kind of activities. Okay, validation, error checking, and formatting. We can do this. So in the document transformation section, this is mainly focused on converting files from one file to another file here. And also kind of some, if you want to logically process some of the data, we can do some programming logics like if conditions else, if else, case statement, okay, choose statement like for loops, while loops, all these programmatical program validations and logics, we can implement this in the document transformation and with the XSLT. But in the core connectors and package integrations, we cannot write up all this code. It was just a configurations. So we go to Workday tenant and configure something based on the requirements. So in the previous examples I showed you here, so connectors and package integration. So that was only configurations. Here in the document transformation, we do write up our code here, XSLT code, to transform a file from one file to another file, and additionally process some kind of validations here, data validations.
So one question here on the slide, if you can go back to that. So here, it takes XML output from connectors or a custom report and transforms it, right? So can we create our own connectors?
No, so we cannot create our own connectors. That means we have to use existing connectors, what they provided connectors only. Suppose, let's say for I have a
So
requirement.
the only thing what we can do, I mean, as a technical person, if you want to do a new integration, it's the only option is, if I understand this right, it's RAS, report as a service. Is that what it is? That's pretty much the only option if I want to create a new integration.
There are, yeah, basically it was. So anyway, any type of tool, it's a EIB, it's a connector, it's a studio, or it's a document transformation. So the source is a web service here. Okay, so
Right.
yeah, source is a web service. Okay, we need to either use a public web services as a custom reports as a data source, then we can use it. Okay, here depends on
So
the.
in order to create that web service, I mean, the only way we can do, if I want to create my own integration web service, is by using custom reports.
That's right. That's right. You want to use your custom web service, that is a custom report here.
Okay, that's the only option.
That is the only option.
Okay, thank you.
Other than that, we can use public web services here. Public web services given by Workday.
Okay.
So the final is the Workday Studio. Okay. So this is a third-party tool. Okay. It's a integrated development environment. It's a Java-based integration development environment. We call it as it's a Java Eclipse here. Okay, so some of the guys who has already worked in Java or something, you might know what is Eclipse here. Eclipse is a open source development environment to write up some of the Java programs or Java development. Okay, so what they done is, so it take the Eclipse the environment, development tool environment. It adds some plugins to this tool and rename it as a Workday Studio. Okay, so in this tool, so we'll be using complex integrations that can be attached. Suppose we have Workday has provided different options. They have provided custom reports. They have provided packaged integrations. They have provided templates. They have provided some of the EABR tool, and they have provided document transformation. So if any type of integrations we cannot achieve using that features, okay, we need to go for a studio here. Okay, so this is a studio is a separate a tool that will not be linked with Workday here. So to some of the requirements we cannot be achieved with the other tools, we can go with the studio here. So we have, it's a tool, development tool. We develop these integrations in the tool, and we can deploy into Workday system here. So, but all other type of integrations we can directly build in Workday application itself. All other types which I showed in the previously, everything is designed and developed by within the Workday application. But if it's here in the Workday Studio, the development, everything everything is done by outside of the Workday. That is. In the Workday Studio tool. So we just deploy it similar to other traditional softwares like PeopleSoft and all. We do design and develop integrations using in the SQR app engine or something. We deploy it, right. Similarly, all design here in the studio. We design our integrations here and we deploy into Workday Studio here. This is an external tool here. We need it. This is external tool, but it's come with the application. Along with the application, no software or additional required needed here. Workday provides this Workday tool, Okay, using this tool we develop here. Okay, so it's an open source Java based tool. Okay. Here we can build complex integrations and we can also leverage all Workday features here. We leverage all Workday features. Okay, so let's say I have I have custom report. I have web service. Okay, web service. What is called public web services. Okay, so in this case, can you show this tool? Okay, I'm just typing here in the program studio, so it will take time. Okay. So it will take time to open. Meanwhile, I'll discuss about this when to use it. Okay, so this tool, when you use, if you want to multiple data sources at a time. Okay, I want to use a custom report. I want to use web service in one integration itself. I want to use multiple web services. I want to use multiple custom reports in one integration. Then I have to go for Studio, because if you go for other tools, EAB, core connectors, and document transformation, we cannot use multiple data sources at a time. Either we can use a custom report or we can use a web service for one integration. Okay, suppose I want to combine both a web service or a custom report, or else I want to use multiple web services in one integration. I want to use multiple custom reports in one integration. That cannot be possible in other type of integrations. Okay, EABs or the core connectors. So if you want to use multiple data sources, multiple transformations. Okay, transformations means XML file to XSL to different XSLT to CSV or something. If you want to use multiple transformations within the single integrations, that cannot be possible with the other type of integrations here. Okay, so multiple transformations needed, multiple data sources needed here. That means custom reports or web services. So multiple data sources needed here, and multiple output destinations I need to send. For example, I have sent one file to one vendor and another file to another vendor. So that multiple sending a multiple destinations at the same in the single integration, it cannot be possible with other type of integrations. Okay, so in these cases, we can use Studio here to design develop our integrations, which to process this kind of requirements. Okay, so based on requirements, which we need to use which tool is appropriate. Okay, in my case, I want to deliver two files, create two output files. One file should go to one vendor, another file should go to another vendor within the same integration. Okay, so this is the requirement. If I have, I need to go for Studio here, because I cannot achieve this with the requirement with the options available in the other type of integration. Okay, so based on this, we can choose this Studio here. Okay, so just open. Actually, we can also write up some Java code. We can bring all the APIs here, custom APIs or public APIs in the studio. Workday you delivered APIs, all this in the studio. We can use it. Similarly, we can use business processes. We can trigger some of the business process from the studio itself. Okay, suppose I have a terminate event. I have a higher business process. I have a promotion or high business process. Actually, we can trigger a business process from the studio integration. Right. So it can be triggered. Okay. Business process can be triggered. We can use additional features to leverage all services, integration attributes, maps, and transactions. Like some of the Workday features, we can leverage here, and also apply our custom Java code. Okay, everything we can do this based on the requirements here. Okay, suppose if you want to build some kind of complex integrations, we actually choose this one. Now let me open this File Studio. It is still open. So meanwhile, before opening, let me open the next topic here. So this about all the tools available, custom tools we can build it. So there are 4, 5 actually. So EABs, core connectors, document transformation, then finally Studio. These are the four tools available to build our integrations, custom integrations in Workday Studio here. Okay. Apart from that, okay, this is one Studio. This is a studio here. Okay, different windows available. Okay, this is a project explorer window, cloud connector explorer window. Project explorer is where our projects will be there, custom projects or integration names here. Cloud explorer, we actually connect to the tenant. Okay, Workday tenant, we have to provide username password here to connect Workday production sandbox implementation or something. So we can actually connect from here. Okay. Similarly, this is the development area where we can develop, design and develop our integration. Let's see. This is INT, all active employees. Just click on this. So this is kind of some small integration here. We can design and develop here. Okay. Let me open ADP Payroll Studio. ADP Payroll Studio. This is so let's see. So this is kind of a studio integration comprises of a list of components. Okay. In the left side, we have see pellets also called as something. So each component we need to call it available here. So we need to call these components and build our integration here. So it is a program flow here. Let's say the program starts here, it will go to this section, this component, do whatever the components it will perform. Like uh, these are the combined some small components here. Okay, so each have some different features here. Okay, there are different properties available. Kind of code we can write it. Like let's say just right click and show this property. There is some kind of code is available here. Property is defined, code is available here. Okay, let's see this one, show properties and so here now we can each component have some properties and all. Based on our requirement we need to drag and drop. Let's say I want to do drop and drop from a component here. I just click on it and drop here. Okay, I can everything I can click it and drag it to here. It will come, this component will come. We need to define properties and we need to route that component from one section to another section. Okay, here from here to here it will go. Starts complete, it will go to this component, and once it processes the this component, it will go to this section. Okay, call process group sections. So this is like a function here. Again, it will come to route here process by group. So it will process all these components, then go to this. It will process all. This is a studio simple like studio type of integration. So where we can see all these studio programs here. Okay, different sections is available. Okay, uh, program section. Okay, let me set prospect here. So prospect. So this is a product explorer section, cloud explorer section. Okay, outline overview. Outline is nothing but the diagram where once we build the integration, it will show the diagram here. Okay, different types of pellets or components available to build our integration here. This is a place where actually we build our integration development is a development window. Similarly, we can call any web services custom reports using Schema Explorer. Like, I want to call a web service from Workday. Okay, I want to add a web service, public web service from Workday. I can choose this icon. I can add it. I want to call a custom report from a web service from my Workday system, so I can actually call it okay, from the web service. So different tools and options available to build our integration. This is the studio looks like here. Okay, Workday Studio. This is external stuff. External still. We can. It's nowhere. Actually, once we deploy, once we design it, we can actually deploy it. Okay, let me see. This one, if I want to deploy, I can right click, deploy to Workday. So here we need to provide the tenant name and something. Next it will go to Workday implementation tenant. Whatever we want to deploy, we can deploy it here. Okay, so once we build the integration, we deploy to Workday, and there we can schedule the integration and run it. So once it deployed, there is nowhere relations to this tool and Workday system. So deployment is completed. There is no relation. Okay, it doesn't call this tool at all. It doesn't call this tool. So everything will run within the system, within the Workday applications. So the development only we do it and deploy it here into Workday system. So this is about Studio. Let me show you the next one. So additional features of these integrations, we actually there are additional features of that integration. We can do file attachments, or we can do like business process. Okay, so actually we can trigger a business process from the integrations. We can trigger business process from the integrations, as well as i have I have a business process. You know what is business process, right? Hire business process, termination business process. We can actually call a integrations from the business process. Okay, we can do vice versa. We can call a business process from a studio integration, as well as from a business process I can call it studio integrations here. Okay, let's say one example here. Suppose I want to call an integration to send a probationary period, 90 days probationary period. Okay, if employee has a 90 days probation period, after 90 days is completed, I automatically trigger an integration saying that you have completed a probation period. So I can trigger a business process on a schedule. Okay, so we can say one of the business process, we can choose integration as one of the step there. So we can call actually integration to trigger a 90 days business process, 90 days probation period or something like that. So when you hire any business process, hire BP, termination BP or something, there may be consist of different steps there. Okay, A, B, C, D or something. So from there, one of the step we can actually call the integration ever. So when you call it, the integration will execute it and it will perform whatever the actions it is needed. Okay. Apart from scheduling in a daily basis, weekly basis, or monthly basis, we can actually call these integrations from the business object, business process. Actually. Similarly, we can also call a business process from an integration. Okay. Vice versa, we can do it in the one application. Yeah. Finally, it's a course content here. So, what are the things we can cover in this integration core training? So, one is report writer here. The first one is report writer is where we build our custom reports. Okay, we build custom reports and we can make it API. Custom report API, we can make it custom API, we can make it, and that we can use our integrations here. Okay, this is a report writer is the concept. We build our own custom reports. Uh, then calculated fields. Calculated fields is nothing but a custom fields here. Okay, suppose I want to do some manipulation of data. I want to do some date formats, concatenate, substring, arithmetic operations. I want to perform on the fields available in the workday. We can do it using the calculated fields here. Okay, to manipulate data, convert currency converts, date formats. Okay, date formats. All these steps instead of handling with the code. So we usually suppose I want to convert date from one format to another format. So usually what we do, we write up a code, the format date, some code in the program, in the XSLT or any programming language. We do it, write up a code, convert. But here, so in the with the configurations we can do. We don't need to write any code. Anybody can do the configurations here. Create a custom fields here with this field functions. Okay, actually, so additional coding is not required here. Suppose I have a report, custom report created. I want to do formats, output of that report. I want to do formats here. Okay, formats, conversions, date formats or strings. Okay, so to format that, I need to write up some code here. Yeah, that cannot be run in the custom report. Code cannot be. We cannot write a custom code there in the custom reports here. What we can do additionally, we can use these calculated fields to achieve all these some of the functions here. Okay, many things we can do, like up to 20 to 30 functions are available. So using these functions we can only configure we can create our own calculated fields by using the configurations itself. Without additional coding we can all do perform this stuff. So calculated fields, we do all this time. We can cover this list of total available calculated fields, how we can create it, how we can use them in the custom report. Then we can use these custom reports and public web services to create our own integrations here. So we can create integrations through EAB. We will be creating integrations through core connectors. We will be creating to document transformation here. So that is the three areas we more focus in. So Workday Studio, it's like overview I'll be telling. It doesn't much going through each and component here. So if you want to go each and component and try using this device, like there are plenty of tools and components here. Each section have different components. It's again a separate training class and certification for that Workday Studio and training and certification. It doesn't come with Workday integration core, actually integration core. So maybe what I do, I try to install how to install it and how to install Workday Studio, how to build a simple integration. I can give overview on that. So additionally, you can learn your own by choosing the help option here. Go to help here. Welcome. It will take you some of the demo classes. Okay, samples, tutorials. You can learn your own interest. But so it takes 30 hours class to only yours tell the studio alone. Okay. So while I'll tell you overview about the studio and how to learn on your own with the simple examples I can provide. So this, but we'll be focusing main on all these five areas. So studio is very less, just overview and showing you demo how to turn it and how to use this cloud connect. Let's say how it works. Like you will be having tutorials and demo everyone. You can click on this and you can learn something from here itself. Let's say go to, okay, I'm just closing this one. Help, help context. So here for each component we'll see documentation. Okay, so what it looks like, what is a studio, how it looks like. You can go and step by step instructions provided here. You can learn on your own if you want to go to more detail about studio here. Okay. So there is no additional documents or materials required for this. So once you install studio, you can actually learn from yourself into more complex integrations here. Okay. So this overview I'll be providing, and I'll not be explaining each and every component here, how can you use it and how can create integrations here. It's just overview class about the studio. Then integration securities I'll be covering here. Okay, so all these topics will cover come here. How we do integration security, how we can handle with the securities here. Okay, to eliminate some rows, to restrict some rows, to not to send in the output files. We'll be creating some kind of integration security users, security groups. We'll be scheduling those integrations with these users here. Okay, so all these topics will be covered in this one. Like so, Workday overview. It's just studio. It's going to be overview. Yeah, it's about 25 hours. It will take with this as per the agenda. And to learn studio alone, it's like advanced, and it will be again taking 25 hours along this one.